music is awesome. Hello, everyone. I'm Ann with Andale Homestead.
And this is Sandy, suburban homesteader, Wyoming, Arizona. Merry Christmas.
I'm Monica from Bland's Promised Land Ranch.
Hello, everyone. It is Casey over at Ormsby Farm, and we are pre-recorded. It is Christmas Eve, and I know most people are probably looking and going, Casey, what in the earthly world are you wearing on a Tuesday night? I'm styling for you. This is my Santa couture. So, nobody that knows, it's from the movie The Santa Claus. We've talked about it a little off the shooting. It is my most favorite Christmas movie. And I saw these on the Amazon, and I said, I have to have them. So I pressed order, and that's just how it went. So welcome in to this episode. We are pre-recorded, so we cannot say hello to you. But Miss Ann, would you like to say hello to everyone that is tuned in and watching?
Absolutely would. And you look very debonair, young man.
Yes.
Very debonair. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. We really appreciate it. Christmas Eve can be a time of joy or a time that you're going to reach out and watch us on YouTube or somewhere like that, which would be joyous as well. So thank you so much of all the places in all the world that you could be, and you decided to spend a little time with us. We really appreciate you. Oh, yeah, Monica.
Okay.
We are talking today about what?
Okay, so I was thinking, if it's Christmas Eve, we're talking about Christmas traditions, talking about all the things that we do. Casey just mentioned that he loves the Santa Claus movies. Do you like all three of the movies, or do you have a particular favorite one, Casey?
Okay, this may be very controversial, but I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan of three. Yeah, I'm not a. I mean, listen, I thought it was 1 and 2 were just so good, especially the marriage of Mrs. Claus. But Martin Short.
Okay. So we gotta have. So if you're watching this, if you're in the chat, you got to write it down. Have you ever seen the Santa Claus movies with Tim Allen? 1, 2, and 3. Yes. Literally one of my family's favorites, and I am very particular. I love the third one. Like, my kids can watch the first and second ones. I'll take the second one. Oh. I love the third one. Literally my favorite. It is so funny. It is so funny. And he sings with I can't even remember the lady's name that's in there, the redheaded lady, and she's singing the Jack Frost.
Yeah, it's from Bye Bye Birdie and
Margaret.
And Margaret.
And she's singing Jack Frost nipping at your nose. And he's like, do it again. And he's like, no, oh my gosh, it is so funny. It makes me laugh every time. So if you're a fan, you need to tell us in the chat. But I wanted to ask the chat, and I wanted to ask Miss Ann and Miss Sandy, what is your favorite Christmas movie? It can be new, it can be old, but if you're going to sit down and you're going to snuggle up with your family and you're going to watch a Christmas movie, what is the one that comes to your brain that you love, that you absolutely cannot miss, that if your family watches it, you're going to be low-key mad? What is it?
Well, honestly, it's kind of like a really strong tradition. I have to watch Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer every year.
I love that.
Oh, yes, that's a good one.
The claymation?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The original, the one, the real one.
Yeah, the real one. Yes. That is how I feel too. The real one. Yes.
How about you, Sandy? Do you have a movie that you like? That's one of two that I can think of.
Ooh.
Well, I love Christmas movies, completely. I can't even tell you that there's one that I don't like, but I do love White Christmas.
Oh yeah.
That is a good one.
Great. Wow. You got the singing in it, you got the storyline, you got famous people. It's just wholesome and sweet and fun, and then I love Jimmy Stewart in Christmas.
It's a Wonderful Life.
It's a Wonderful Life. I love that too. Yeah. And the oldest ones I like the best,
Like
because
what?
they've made remakes of different movies, but usually it's those original ones that I really love.
Yeah.
That White Christmas
Yeah.
man. That's
The,
something.
the remakes are usually.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be doing that the whole episode, probably. Yeah.
Everything.
Yeah.
So if you watch White Christmas,
Life.
you watch Holiday Inn.
Yeah. I
I'm not-
love all. I just love Christmas movies. That's just the facts. I mean, even though things are always going to work out in the end, you
Yeah.
still watch them because that's
Right.
what a movie should do. It should make me feel warm inside, and you got that conflict, and then all of a sudden they love each other, and it's a white Christmas, and they're making cookies, and it's good.
Yeah.
That's right.
And you're gonna walk around singing their songs, sisters.
That came right to my mind. I just love that song.
We turn the movie on and immediately Abigail's singing Sisters and Eric's like, snow, snow. And then they chime in together. I'm like, this is so, like, we have so many problems in this house. This is not one of them. They love it. These movies are so classic. And of course, you sit down and you watch a movie. And then, okay, so now is my follow-up question. You're watching your favorite Christmas movie. You're getting all cozy. What snack are you grabbing? Like immediately we get all cozy and comfy. And one of my children will say, Mom, can you go make some chocolate chip cookies? Like it's a thing that they immediately associate with. So people, we're Americans. We like food. What is your snack of choice when it's Christmas movie season? What are you snacking on?
Gosh, we make it's called, well, I don't know what it's called, but it's saltine crackers with cheese and some cayenne pepper on top.
Ooh.
You stick it in the oven you turn your oven to like 400, then you turn it off. And once it gets heated in the evening before, put it in the oven. It stays all night. You wake up the next morning and everything's crispy and melted on the.
Sounds good.
It's really, really yummy. Saltine crackers, cheddar cheese, and a little bit of spiciness on the top of it. It's really delicious.
What? I think if you don't have a YouTube video on that, you might have to make that into a video.
Okay.
That needs to be a short.
And
that
then,
needs to be something.
okay, I can do that. And we also have my mother made every year, and I have made in the past for Christmas gifts. It's a wonderful Christmas gift. Is Russian tea.
I love Russian tea.
Really yummy.
Yeah.
And then when I started making it and reading the ingredients, it's like 90% sugar. So maybe that's why it's so good.
Casey and I look like we don't know. We're like, what?
Yeah,
Sounds good.
I'll have to make a rest. I'll have to make a video.
It's got tea and tang in it and some spices. My grandma made it too, and we had it at Christmas time. We loved it.
Right. It is instant tea, tang, cinnamon. It's just a lot of different things that you mix together. And I'll look it up, Russian tea.
Well, I think there's a second video coming for that one, Miss Ann. Okay, Casey, what snack are you going to? What's your go-to snack? Is it salty? Is it sweet? What is it?
I don't know. I was like, okay, I have time to think because she's probably going to call on Sandy next.
No,
It's
you.
I have to say, from my childhood, the thing I remember most is sausage balls. My mom was in our family. She's known for the sausage balls. Like at Thanksgiving or Christmas family gatherings, they look through the windows of the blinds. And if my mother doesn't have the tray of sausage balls, we're not allowed entry into the party.
Lock the door.
But she would always, when we were younger, we would always go to my aunt's house on Christmas Day. And so in the morning, she would take out the sausage balls because she used to freeze them because they don't spread out as much. So they keep their shape. And Christmas morning, while she was getting breakfast ready, she was cooking the 4 to 5 batches of sausage balls. So that's the smell that I remember from Christmas.
Oh, wonderful.
That and eggnog. My grandfather was a big homemade eggnog person. He loved homemade eggnog, and I'm kind of the one that took over that tradition of making eggnog now. And with chickens, you have an abundance of eggs if you water glass it. So
Yeah.
you're able to make the eggnog non-alcoholic adult beverage with. So I mean, there's different options. You can even add it to the coffee. I've added it to the coffee, not with the adult beverage in it, but just the base of it. And it's so good. It is really.
Oh,
It's like a Christmas hug. Okay, now Sandy, what about you?
Yes.
Well, I have come from a long line of homemade candy makers. So always we had these trays that were filled with all these different homemade candies. Like my grandmother's, she had this recipe to make like a Mounds candy bar, only had mashed potatoes in it with the coconut. So good. It tasted just like a Mounds candy bar. A homemade fudge. My mom likes to do chocolate, that almond bark over top of pretzels. My mom always likes to do that. But probably my very favorite is homemade caramels. Oh, it's just so, and my kids always, it's just like, can't you send me some homemade caramels? They're just so fantastic. And you can add salt to them. You could add chocolate to them. It's just a tradition that I can't live without.
That's wonderful.
Sounds so good.
I love that.
Sound good.
Hey, Monica.
Well, besides the cookies that we're snuggling up with, typically each year, so I do a lot of chocolate dipping. I do a lot of the dipping of things. But I think that one of the things that my kids like the most now, besides the dipped chocolates, like the dipped Reese's in peanut butter, you have the little Ritz crackers with peanut butter in the center, you dip them in chocolate. That's like the thing that I'm making all the time. But my daughter makes a big, great, giant, big old batch of Muddy Buddies, the Chex Mix with the peanut butter and the chocolate and the
powdered sugar
and all that. Yeah. She makes a massive batch of Muddy Buddies. And we just eat on it for weeks. And we don't eat that long. She'll make it and it's gone in like 3 days. And then have to make another batch. And so I always have a supply of Ritz crackers, Chex Mix, marshmallows, and like butter and powdered sugar in the house for all the things. Because the chocolate and the peanut butters and all the things, because those are the go-to fun snacks.
That one is good. I copycatted you last year, the Ritz crackers and the peanut butter.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's good.
As I say, if y'all haven't had it, it's so good.
Yeah. And it's funny because my daughter-in-law doesn't even like dark chocolate, but I make these every year. And she's like, these are so good. And I'm like, it's dark chocolate, Chica. And she's like, okay, well, they're still really good. Because I buy like a bag of the candy melts. I'll do the almond bark, but then I buy the big bag of candy melts on Amazon and I'll buy the 5-pound bag at a time. And I will just blow through a bag of melting chocolate. But I always have my melter sitting out on the kitchen table. Basically from like the day after Thanksgiving, my chocolate melter sits on the table and I just start it up every day and start dipping because the kids they love it. And they're like, can I have a snack? I'm like, I can't believe we don't gain 20 pounds over the holidays because y'all be eating chocolate every single day.
What an awesome childhood memory, though, to be able to have those smells of the melted chocolate in your kitchen all the time.
We called it puppy chow, with the checks. I think across the country, there's different names for different things that people make.
Yeah.
But like for us, Christmas Eve, it was my dad would make the chili and oyster stew. And that's what we always had on Christmas Eve. Then we'd have the turkey and all the other stuff on Christmas Day. But I remember a really funny story. Now, my dad was a fireman, so every third day he was gone because he worked for 24 hours. And one time it fell Christmas Eve. And so my mom, wanting to do just like my dad, she made the chili and then she went to make the oyster stew. Now, my mom does not like oysters and she doesn't like milk. So this was a stretch for her. So us kids were excited. Oh, yay, we get oyster stew like regularly. She opens a can of oysters. One of them is broken and it kind of has that green tinge,
Yeah.
She thought the can was spoiled and she dumped the cans out.
Oh no.
So we only had chili. My dad was just like mortified the next day.
Oh no.
We never let her live it down. We still talk about it today.
Yes,
Her and her oyster stew.
Oh my word. Well, you know, you
That
were saying,
oyster stew sounds really good.
I
I'll be
know.
hungry by the end of this episode.
We are. We're going to be so hungry. Well, we moved to Texas back 10 years ago, and I had a neighbor that was giving us a gift the first year we were here. And we share, little holiday gift things with our neighbors. And
Mhm.
she came over, they pulled up, they got out of the truck, and she had a container. It was a little plastic container. And she said, "Here you go. It's trash." And I was like, "Oh, okay." And I took it. I thought it was trash. I thought she was giving me an empty container out of her truck. And I was like, "Okay, cool, thanks." And I took it in, and I was about to throw it away, and I felt something inside.
Oh,
And I cracked it open, and it was this beautiful caramel Chex Mix type of stuff with the pretzels and all. And
God.
that's what she calls trash. And so I went back outside and I said, "Oh my gosh, thank you again for the stuff." And she's like, "Trash." And I was like, "Is it called trash?" And she's like, "Yeah, that's the name for it." And I was like, I almost threw it away. And she was like, "What?" "Look, you were giving me trash in your car. I thought you were cleaning it
That
up."
was really sweet, Monica, that you actually were going to take the trash and throw
I
it away.
was.
It was very kind.
She's my new friend. I don't want to be mean to her right away. You got to warm up to me before you're going to get the meanness, right? I'm like, I'm not going to be mean to your face right away when I meet you. But
Well, it is funny that people call it all different things. Like you said, what puppy chow is?
Yeah,
What?
puppy chow.
we call it
Yeah.
Muddy Buddies.
Well, see, my mom's she's real good with names, so she calls it the Crispix mix.
The Crispix.
Okay. The Crispy
Ah.
Crispix are a different. Crispix though are a different type of cereal than Chex.
Yeah,
So
it is.
Crispix may have been around before Chex.
Yeah.
Right.
It's a lot lighter.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's so good. But one thing that I love to make, have y'all ever made what's called Christmas crack?
Yes.
Okay, is that what the
Saltine crackers and then the homemade caramel and then melted
Oh.
chocolate on top and you break it.
I've heard?
Oh, we've made that, but we didn't call it that.
What do you
Yeah.
call it?
I don't know. I'm going to have to ask my mom because she loves making that. But I never heard of it as Christmas.
But I never
crack.
put caramel on it. I only had the crackers and the chocolate, and then the M&Ms or peppermint things.
So what? Because I can't remember when this comes out because I'm joining on a collaboration, Christmas candy.
Me too.
Okay.
So
Cool.
I think some of us are, and I'm doing the Christmas crack, and you put the saltine crackers down,
Mhm.
and then you melt some butter and pour in equal parts brown sugar until it caramelizes to make that caramel sauce.
Yes.
Pour it over the crackers, and bake it. I think for 8 minutes. And then when you pull it out, it's still hot. That's when you put the chocolate on top, and it melts. Spread
Sure.
it.
Right.
Yeah.
You add nuts or peppermint or M&Ms, like you said, and you break it
Yeah.
up. And I
Yeah.
vacuum seal it in the jars. Not that it
Okay.
ever lasts long enough to vacuum. Because you're
Ooh,
like,
that
"Oh,
stuff is
one
good.
more."
Yeah.
See, I've never had it because it's always been. It looks like a toffee, right?
Yeah.
I don't like
does.
toffee, and so I'm always like, "That looks so good," but I'm
Yeah.
not going to eat it.
No, you need
Not
to
toffee
try it this
tasty.
year.
It doesn't
I'm
taste like
challenging
toffee.
Monica because most people know we pre-record this, so I'm challenging her for Vlogmas that
Oh my
one
gosh.
of the days.
Okay.
I think I'm going to challenge all four of us to make some Christmas crack. Huh?
Oh, I'll have to. The kids really
Okay.
enjoy that.
It's so good. I tried it one year with pretzels instead of the saltine crackers because I saw it on Instagram.
Oh, there it goes again. There it goes.
Not
So
the same.
good.
Not the same. You need to do saltine crackers
Okay.
Okay.
Well, I'll have to buy my saltine crackers so that I can do this
or
one.
make homemade saltine crackers.
You can make
Yeah.
homemade saltine crackers.
Yes,
you can
I'll
make them
put you
out
on
of
my video.
Sourdough?
Yeah. You can make them out of sourdough. I have a really good cracker recipe. Yeah.
Mhm.
I'm going to do that. I just made sourdough pizza for Eric tonight and it was so good. I didn't have any, but it looked so delicious. And I'm like, man, I wanted that. I made it for him and I pulled it out in the hot skillet and I'm looking at it and I'm like, oh, I should have made myself one. It looks so good.
Gosh.
So I'm going to try the sourdough saltines.
Okay. She's taking notes, man.
I'm taking
Well,
notes.
we're talking about all this sugary stuff, but Sandy, you said Christmas Eve y'all used to do chili and oyster stew, right?
Yes. Mhm.
What about you ladies? Do y'all have a Christmas Eve like go-to dinner? I think most of us would do the turkey and ham on Christmas Day, but do y'all have a Christmas Eve dinner that y'all normally do?
Well, we usually have some Brunswick stew with rice,
Mm,
which is
mm.
delicious. And my Aunt Peg, again, she's the cook of the family, and we would always go around her, and she would cook a Christmas ham, and we would have ham that night. And then the next day it would be barbecue and turkey and all those types of things. But the night before was a Brunswick stew with rice and some ham that she would layer the top with pineapple slices.
Oh, yeah.
Ooh.
All of that. It was so yummy, so yummy.
Mm.
Mm-mm.
You're
How
all
about-
so hungry.
I'm starving right this second. Thank you very much. And
What
it's
about you, Monica?
Okay, so when we used to live in Maryland, Christmas Eve was always my mom's holiday. Before my parents divorced, we would go to my grandmother's house, and then when my parents divorced, it became my mom's day. So that was like my mom's day. We celebrated Christmas with her. So we would always do something really different. Either we would get like Chick-fil-A if they were open. We'd get like party platters, or we do one year my mom did like tacos, and we would do just different things, whatever we were kind of in the mood for. But it was always like whatever we did, we were at my mom's. So it didn't matter what we were eating. It was going to be delicious no matter what.
okay.
Since we've been in Texas, it's been a little different because it's kind of just like another day. So for us, it's been kind of low key, maybe just whatever we've got leftovers in there because we're preparing for like the turkey and the ham. And so, but yeah, I mean, it's not been anything super special really, because it's been so different since we've been away from all the extra family. So yeah, for us, it's really just kind of whatever we have in there. And then, of course, Christmas morning, we've got our big breakfast. I always make a real big breakfast for the people. I don't even eat breakfast foods really, but I always make this massive breakfast. And then we put all our turkey and our ham, and you make the ham like with the pineapple and stuff. And Eric's grandmother used to take a ham, and she would just take a frozen ham, which is probably a no-no. And if you're in the chat and you're like, don't put frozen food in your crock pot,
Right.
just ignore me, earmuffs right now. But I take my frozen ham that I got from my own pig, and I take a frozen ham, I stick it in the crock pot at like 6 a.m., whatever it is. I stick it on low, like basically just enough to warm because it's already cooked. And I like lather it with regular just mustard, like yellow mustard.
Oh, yum.
Prepared mustard. I just coat the whole thing, and then I slap a bunch of brown sugar, enough to coat it. And my hands are like disgustingly yellow afterwards, but I coat the whole thing with brown sugar on top of this mustard. And usually my kids are like completely disgusted. They're like, that's nasty. I don't want to eat mustard. But like in 6 hours by noon, it looks amazing and it smells so good. And it's so little. And so the kids just are so happy. And they're like, wow, that's actually better than we thought. But I just cook it on low because it doesn't need to do anything but really thaw out and warm up.
Right.
Mhm.
And I just cook it and leave it on low for like as long as it takes until we eat dinner. And usually it works, but that's what his grandmother did. And so I'm like, that's the way I do it. And people have been telling her for years. They were like, don't put frozen food in your crock pot. I'm like, I'm gonna do it.
Well.
Yeah, but a ham is cooked.
It is cooked.
So that's different than,
warm. It just needs to warm. So and that's all it does. It just sits and warms, and that's like one of our favorite things to eat on Christmas Day.
That smells so good.
Oh, it does.
What about you, Casey?
We recently, in the past like 3 or 4 years, our Christmas Eve tradition has always been like a steak dinner, because usually it's what we're eating before we go to church. Especially out here, we live so far away from church that it's a very early one. And as I'm sitting here now, because by this time we would have already announced that Sis Tara is going to have her first baby. Thinking this is probably a very expensive tradition to start when you start having kids. To have a steak dinner. But funny story on Christmas Day, because all the time we've always done the turkey and the ham. My aunt, and I know she's probably going to be listening because I forced my family to listen to the podcast.
Good for you.
She decided one year out of the blue that she wanted to kind of spice Christmas Day up since it was at our house, and she wanted to do a taco bar.
Oh. You and
Oh my
those raspberries tonight.
I'm telling you, it was a one time and only. And listen,
Yes.
if you, I don't, people in the chat, if that's what you do for your Christmas day, I'm sure it is wonderful.
Yeah, there
But
are.
I am bougie, and in my mind, Christmas Day, just like Thanksgiving Day, is it's the Thanksgiving ham and turkey, and it's the Christmas ham and turkey that
That's
we
right.
raise. So, but yeah, steak dinner, and it's usually my family likes fattier steaks. I'm not a fan of fatty steaks, so it's usually 3 ribeyes or T-bones, and I have a fillet. But I'm
Okay.
thinking now that's a really expensive one when you start having kids.
Yes.
Like we should have thought this one through.
I'll just bring you a fillet each year that I come through. That'll be
We did, not was it last year or the year before? Because you came
it was
twice.
probably 2 years ago.
We had your steaks for Christmas Eve.
Yeah.
And,
Oh.
it was so special to be able to have one of your friends home raised meat.
Right.
Right.
Your canned sides and veggies.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it just kind of hits you a little bit different.
Yeah.
Right.
Where you know where everything came from.
Yeah.
Truly
So
does.
yeah.
I will say that that's one of those things that when we sit at our table each year, we are so thankful for all the food that we're looking at, because when you have, especially like the meat, and you're looking at some of those things, you're like, okay, I did that. Like God gave me that.
Yes.
We raised it and we put that there. Because last year on, I want to say Christmas, or even the day, maybe it was the day after Thanksgiving, we didn't have any extra turkeys at that point and that were already processed. And so I told Eric, I was like, I think it was Christmas. I was like, guess what? We don't have any extra turkeys right now that are already, ready to go. So we're going to go ahead and we're just going to have a brisket. Let's just do a brisket. So I think it was actually the day after Thanksgiving. We always do like an extra Thanksgiving, so we have
Yes.
more leftovers.
Mhm.
And so it was the Friday after, and we always do a second turkey. And I was like, we don't have a second turkey. We have one more turkey for the holidays. That's it. And so we smoked a brisket, and it was like a new thing. And my kids were like, that was spot on, Mom. Because I refuse to,
There's a new tradition right there.
there you go. I refuse to buy a turkey at the store. I am now that person.
Mhm.
I'm like, I don't care if it's 20 cents a pound. I refuse at this point, because I
Right.
have them in my backyard walking around
Right.
freely. So
Yes.
they deserve to be the ones we eat, not the ones at the store. But
Right.
yeah, I mean, there is something about, even if it's just your own vegetables or something, your jelly. If you're
Yeah.
eating your own home jarred jelly on a biscuit on a holiday morning, there is something so rewarding about that. So
That's
you may
for
not
sure.
have to
Well-
rate everything, but sometimes just the little things make a difference.
I have
Yeah.
to tell you that right now in real time, because this comes out Christmas Eve, real time, we will probably be sipping on what I called Sandy's brandy
That's
that
right.
we steeped and fermented since, when was it, Sandy? August? Did I tell you that I started doing
Maybe.
it?
Yeah.
And it was, I'm really, really looking forward to that.
Oh,
So
yeah.
cool.
It was the caramel
Yeah.
cheese, raspberry, and our home
Raspberries.
pears that
Yeah.
sat. It was, and I've already pre-recorded, but
Sampled.
I've already shaken it up and strained it, and it kind of looks like a Bailey's consistency, like that,
Awesome.
like the light brown kind. So I was
Yeah.
really excited. So I have to say, right now in real lifetime, I am probably having the steak dinner right before church and
That's
having
right.
Sandy's brandy.
That is so cool.
Well, we always loved, because we love pies at holidays,
Mm.
right? Homemade chocolate pie, apple pie from our trees, a pear crisp from our tree,
Ooh,
and
pear
then pumpkins. The pumpkin pie, that's one of my kids' favorite. In fact, my one son says that at the holidays, because he lives in San Francisco now, he buys pumpkin pies and he goes, for about a week and a half, I eat pieces of pie for breakfast.
Okay.
Reminds him of the holidays.
Oh.
But I love making pumpkin pie from pumpkins you grew.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Because there are certain pumpkins that the flavor is so fabulous,
Oh my goodness.
and so why not take those things out of your garden and in the South where you guys are, if you grow sweet potato pie is
Ooh.
excellent.
Some good stuff.
That is.
Yes.
We're all
Yes,
going to be having midnight snacks after
I'm telling
recording.
you, it's gonna be
Right.
we're gonna be eating it up.
Oh my goodness, pies are amazing. This has been such a good conversation too. Just like
Yeah.
all the different fun things that people do that are so different because we're not in the same place and we all didn't grow up in the same place. So it's kind of cool too. So if you're listening to this and you know we're about to sign out soon, but if you're listening to this, make sure you're putting some traditions in there that you did.
Yeah.
We want to hear. And if you're not here live and you're well, obviously we're live on Tuesday, but we're not live really. But if you're back and hearing it again on Friday and Christmas is already here, tell us something you did. Give us a
That's right.
comment. We want to hear
Yes.
because this is
Yeah.
it's always fun to share, some of the things that we're doing and things that you've done.
That's right. It is.
Yeah,
It's
'cause
a lot of fun.
it's cool if you hear a tradition that
Mm-hmm.
somebody else does and you go, that would fit with my family.
Right.
Right.
Why not try it and see if the whole family loves to do it?
That's exactly right. That's
I'm
exactly-
thinking oyster stew before we sign off. That's what's been in my head the entire time. I love oysters, so
Yeah.
that may be it. But
Yeah.
we are coming up on the 30 minutes, and we really do try to keep it down to 30 minutes. And we know that it's Christmas Eve, and we hope you are having a wonderful holiday night and with your family and spending time. And we want to thank you from the bottom of our hearts for y'all coming in and joining us and spending the little 30 minutes on Christmas Eve with you. We are just so grateful that you come in week to week. And we will also be pre-recorded next week because it is New Year's Eve. So you won't see us again until next year. Weird to say, 2025. So
Oh,
until
good.
then, Merry Christmas. We hope everyone has a wonderful holiday, and we will see you then. So bye, y'all. Bye.
Bye. Bye, y'all. Bye.